If you're watching this, then you clearly have an issue with migraines like I did, and I just want to say I'm so sorry because they are so debilitating and just ruin your life. So thank you for being here, and I really hope that this helps you in some way. But please bear in mind this is just going to be my story and what worked for me, and fingers crossed something will work for you as well. I have gone from not knowing what a migraine was to getting them monthly and then being able to be migraine free. My first migraine came when I came off the pill, and I had been on the contraceptive pill since I was like 15, and I came off when I was 31, I think, or 30, which is a long time, and I didn't know that I got migraines. I remember being in a car driving with my partner, and I suddenly felt like I couldn't really see properly, and I remember just sort of looking at my hands to see why it was different in one eye and not the other, and he immediately knew what it was and rushed me home and put me in a dark room and had the eye mask on and all the water and everything. I was like, what is going on? It started happening every single month. I went to the doctor obviously, and they were telling me that it was to do with my hormones, and my hormones were trying to rebalance, I guess, after being on the pill. That's another whole story. So I was trying to be patient and trying to, monitor my hormones and monitor my migraines, and when I might be at the threshold. Actually, that was really helpful, was to know roughly how I would feel before a migraine would come on, so that I could try everything I could to prevent it. Didn't really work. My tipping point was where I had a really bad migraine. It wasn't going away. I was drinking lots of water. I'd taken all the pills, taken the Ryzamelt. Nothing was working. And I started to notice that I was losing consciousness, and it felt like I was checking out of my body, and then I don't remember a thing after that. I woke up in the hospital. I apparently had been in a coma for a day. Basically what had happened is that I had drunk so much water that I had flushed out all of the natural salts and things like that you need, and I had essentially gone a bit crazy and lost my mind. Real fun! I had a good conversation with the doctors in the hospital, and they gave me beta blockers to live off. Nobody was interested in finding out why I was getting migraines, or when they started happening, or what I could change in my body or my lifestyle or my diet in order to not have them. Nobody seemed interested in preventing them at all. They just seemed interested in giving me solutions for getting them. Cool, thanks. I wasn't prepared to accept that. I was really interested in why this was happening in the first place. So of course I tried all of the things, all the foods that people tell you that it could be, tried all of those. I learned somewhere along the lines that someone had significant success by eating a keto diet and staying in ketosis, and that would stop them having migraines. So I tried that, didn't work for me. In the end, what worked was something that I find hard to explain to people, but I love it. So I went to see a homeopathy, naturopaths, all the things that we do when none of the traditional methods work. I wanted to look outside of traditional medicine because I wasn't satisfied by the results that I was getting or their lack of interest in the cause. I wanted to take a more holistic view and see what had changed or what was going on in my body, this imbalance, that I could perhaps rebalance and just take away the need for all of that medication. So I went to see a naturopath who had what's called a bioresonance machine. Apparently it's made in Germany, or it's a German type of machine. BICOM Bioresonance machine? BICOM Bioresonance. And what it is it's a machine that measures the frequency of lots of different elements that you could be intolerant to. Intolerant, not allergic, so different thing. When you have an allergy, it's more of an immediate effect on the body, and we know that it's happening straight away. Whereas an intolerance is something that kind of eats away at you slowly over time and can be really debilitating, but because it's an everyday thing, you kind of don't know why, or you often miss it because you built up a tolerance to the intolerance in a way. Anywho, this test had over 100 different types of things that it was testing me against. Things like cat hair, dust, the normal things like gluten and dairy and onion and garlic, all these things. And what it does is it just sits on your finger like this. It's not a pinprick, it's not invasive in any way. It's kind of just like something that measures your frequency or your energetic level against the energetic level of the cat hair, the gluten, the whatever it is, to see how your body reacts when it comes into contact with this energy. And I am intolerant to onion, garlic, gluten, cat hair. I already knew those things. But what I didn't know, you get your results back really, really fast. Like I got my results back in 24 hours. And what I didn't know was it came back as saying that I was intolerant to sulfites. Oh, okay, what's that? Sulfites are usually a preservative found in red wine and processed meats, balsamic vinegar, things like that. I didn't have a lot of processed meat in my diet, but I would have bacon, for example, at brunch, or I would have red wine in the evening. I loved red wine. And I also loved balsamic vinegar. Damn. And I would notice that my migraine would come on after a longer period of time of having those things. Like it would be about sort of 12 hours later, I would get a migraine after having a glass of red wine. One glass! I was not drinking a lot of red wine. Don't come at me with your hangovers. But actually, I used to think that that's what a hangover was. Anyway, so I decided to play with this and think, okay, well, if it's saying that I'm significantly intolerant to sulfites, maybe there's something in that. And I started to cut all of those things out of my diet. And this was a huge thing for me because I loved red wine and I didn't miss things like bacon. This was around the time I was moving into a vegetarian diet anyway. I did miss balsamic vinegar and other things, but really, you understand, migraines suck so much that I didn't care. The pain of having a migraine was greater than the pain of not having a glass of red wine. So that's what really worked for me. And I'm really proud to say that I haven't had a migraine since then. So that is, what are we in, 2022? 1, 2, 3, 4. That's coming on 4 years now. And I have found red wine that is sulfite free. So it's not all bad. But in saying that, it clearly showed, my body was clearly showing me that red wine isn't really something that I should be having a lot of. And same with the meats and same with, the other elements, like my body was asking me to not have these things. And once I removed those, I was able to get back in balance. And now I don't have any of those issues. And I was able to wean myself off the medication. I'm going to save that for another video because that's also a really cool technique that I want to share. I want to ask you to open yourself up to what are the patterns that you're seeing around your migraines. What could your body be trying to tell you? Maybe see if you can track down a bioresonance tester and just see what works for you. I really wish you all the best. All this talk of red wine has made me want to go and have a glass of wine now. It's 4 o'clock in the afternoon. That's okay, right? That's good enough.